Sam and Ron here with a perfectly imperfect marriage. And today we're going to dive into some heavier topics. We're going to be talking about sobriety today. Now, not how to get sober as much as what does your marriage look like on the other side of sobriety? You know, if you are now on the other side of sobriety, first off, I want to congratulate you.
Victory!
Absolutely. It's a huge, monumental accomplishment, and you should be proud of yourselves for it. But also understand that, this is really just the beginning of the future. So what does that look like? 2017, you may know some of our backstory, you may not, but in 2017, we really were on the brink of divorce. Like, we hit a wall and had no idea how to get past it. The beginning of 2018, found sobriety.
Jesus.
And that as well. And, the combination of, as well as getting coaching ourselves, has really helped us to get to where we are. And, it's also a big reason why we are in the field that we're in now as well. But, sobriety really is just the beginning, so there's so much more to accomplish, so much that needs to be done for healing. And so we're going to look very 10,000 foot overview on some of these topics.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about emotional rebuilding. There's a lot of steps to what comes after getting sober. That is, I believe you already said, just the beginning of a long journey, but it's so worth the journey.
Oh, absolutely.
So emotional and relational rebuilding is the start of the journey. And you got to think, you've laid a foundation through the addiction years that now we're going to lay a whole new foundation to trust and honoring your spouse now through their process. And all of that takes intention and a whole lot of patience.
It does.
Patience.
And some hard work. You've got to be willing to put in the reps. Some of these new behaviors are going to require some practice,
A good example of a step you could take immediately to building the new patience and respect and trust is a good example. Your spouse used to not come home because they were stopping at a bar or a friend's house to just hang out and party, whatever their addiction was, because we know there is a wide variety these days. But instead of just heading out of work and heading home and now left the one at home, wondering if they're going to come home, they could shoot a text and say, hey, or a call, like you often do. You'll call me when you're on your way home, or I'm on my way home, I'll give you a call just to say, hey, I'm on my way. You're establishing a new routine, a new trust factor that you're actually doing what you said and rebuilding that bridge.
Through the addiction process, often we hurt or destroy certain aspects of the marriage that you need to have in order to be a healthy and thriving couple. And trust is one of those biggies. So creating some new trust patterns in the beginning in your short-term sobriety are huge. This is all about repairing trust, growing and strengthening your emotional intimacy, which, communication and trust are biggies as far as how some of this repair process goes.
And really, that's in all dynamics of a relationship. Trust is like the number one thing, as well as communication. Every couple we talk to on whatever road they're on, communication is always at the top.
Yeah.
And then trust comes in pretty much at number 2.
Often it does. And not to dive deep, but usually those are symptoms versus real issues. But really, when it comes to sobriety, creating new trust patterns is huge. Transparency in Really all aspects, things like letting your spouse have access to your phone, for example, or your
Whew,
computer
that can
or
be a touchy
whatever.
subject for some people.
Not looking at my phone.
Which boggles my mind because really, I don't want to ever look at your phone. But if
No,
for some reason I wanted to pick it up and all of a sudden I couldn't get on your phone,
that's a red flag.
yeah, that makes one wonder why.
So again, all of these things are immediate steps that you can take to begin to rebuild some trust. Um, but I think transparency is a biggie there.
Yes. Share how openness about feelings or triggers or schedule struggles. That's another aspect of transparency. So if, let's say, your addiction is drinking, or was, excuse me, we're in the was phase now. Your addiction was drinking, and your route home takes you right by ABC Liquor. That is a big one here in Florida. Yeah. I don't know what yours is in your area, but whatever. It takes you by there. Maybe you want to tell your spouse, hey, when I leave work, I do struggle driving by there. It makes me have memories and longing, whatever the case may be. Share that with your spouse so that you can pray over that together, talk about that together, and maybe find a different route home. And then if it takes you a little longer getting home, your spouse knows why.
Exactly.
So you're opening up communication, trust, and transparency.
And then next, I would suggest some consistency. Once you begin to develop these patterns, the new behavior patterns that we're trying to establish, the rebuilding of trust, the being transparent, in order for these to really become habits, you've got to be consistent. You need to be intentional. You need to be, working on these things regularly. And depending on what it is, if you're going to AA or NA or Celebrate Recovery, if you're doing the meetings, being consistent in your attendance is huge. And then for others, it might be serving at your church, but again, being consistent in each of these activities lends to creating greater trust and transparency in other areas.
I got one thing on this one and one thing only.
All right.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure that's a very old saying, but it's true.
It is. And, I know that this holds true for us during the partying years before we found sobriety, but often our words did not at all marry to our actions.
Nope.
And we might have meant it when we said it, I'm not going to, or I am going to. And then, started chasing whatever, the drink or whatever it happened to be that given day. But, and then now your words are meaningless. And boy, that's one of those things that damages trust.
Also, and I don't know if we've touched on this in any of our videos, but sobriety does take two in a relationship. So if your partner is the one that has become newly sober, but you are continuing to go out and drink with your friends, or I know the big thing now is everybody's smoking pot because it's legal. Look, whatever it is that you have an issue with or your spouse had an issue with, you got to do it together. Don't leave them out there to walk that path alone, because you don't need any of those things in your life to have a joy-filled life, to get through struggles.
When it comes to success, you are stronger together. So always. If you're walking this out shoulder to shoulder, it's going to make not only the success of the struggling spouse considerably easier, but it's also going to strengthen the marriage.
Yeah. And you often tell me, be the salmon. Go against the stream, which is the crowd. Don't be like everybody else.
Yeah, don't be like everybody else.
Yeah. Another thing we can talk about too is Courageous communication. So that would be, there's often hurt, fear, confusion on both sides. Talk about it. Lean into those conversations. This comes back to the transparency, the communication. You got to have those hard conversations.
So, and this one will likely take a little practice, but being vulnerable, being humble, not wearing a mask, being able to, for both of you, you know, being able to share and being able to receive in a judgment-free atmosphere between the two of you. I mean, you really do need to be able to share like everything with your spouse. So this one might take a little practice, but boy, that's why you need to be courageous. You know, this one absolutely has to happen.
They should get a shovel too.
And why is that?
To shovel out that grace. Because that's going to be a biggie. So, yeah.
Grace and forgiveness. You know, yes. You need to be able to offer grace and you need to be able to offer forgiveness. But on the other side, you need to be humble enough and wise enough, really, to receive the grace and receive the forgiveness. You've got to work through some steps to forgive yourself. You know, if you're holding resentment against your spouse or guilt for what you've done, it's really going to make moving forward more difficult.
Boy, that was both sides of the coin. Yeah. Because either one of those is going to be a big wall between you and moving forward. So that's a great segue into, now's the time to start healing. Don't wait. You know, if anything that we've just said, you can find relation to. If it sounds like you and or your spouse, if it sounds like one of those is the next step you need to take, start now. Don't wait.
Don't wait. And, you know, the longer you wait, as far as especially things like trust, resentment, guilt, the distance between the two of you, the walls that you've built over the years are only going to get larger, you know. So the sooner we're proactive about attacking those things and strengthening this bond here, the sooner so many things happen. An inner joy, you know, an excitement and fervor for life that you have lost somewhere along the way, you know, and a newfound friendship that seemed to have just disappeared is now back again.
Now, don't get us wrong. You will still get on each other's nerves and you will still have moments where you want to slap them or flick them in the forehead. But when you own this and you step into it, it does take time. It is a journey.
Yeah.
But you will see pretty quick wins. I think every couple that we've worked with, within the first couple weeks, week 2, week 3, they're reporting some major win.
Yeah.
And when you've been struggling, every win, really, if you think about it, it's a major win because it's a win. So back to this, don't wait to start healing your marriage. You should start now. And this is not a commercial. However, we do have some programs that could help you. And one, this is our heart, this one, because this is the road we walked. Newly sober, very proud of my husband for that. And super, super blessed and grateful for where we are in our marriage and to be able to come alongside other couples and help them. It is called our Newly Sober Marriage Revival.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Grow, restore, strengthen.
Yes. And go ahead, 90-day program. Give them the deets.
Well, it is a 90-day program. You know, I don't want to get commercial.
Which is 12 weeks, by the way. 90 sounds like a very long time, but it's 12 weeks.
So it's a video course. It's got playbooks, and there's one-on-one coaching with us. There's a link below the video. I put a link to this particular course, actually to all of our products, really, below every video. But this one, like Samantha said, is really near and dear to our hearts, as this is really a culmination of all of the different things that we had tried on our journey. And, I mean, part of the goal is to give you guys the head start that we didn't have, so that ideally you can, begin to walk in this incredible joy that we have now and get there way faster than we did.
Yeah. And I'd also like to say, too, one thing that, listen, there's a lot of coaches, counselors, therapists out there, and they're all amazing in the field that they are. And they are all for somebody. We believe that we are for the people that resonate with us. And we praise God and thank God for all the other couples who've stepped up to help couples, because this is what we should be doing. Now, before you say anything, I have one more point to make here. Well, I just want to say accountability. We have designed our programs to hold you accountable, which may sound super scary, but it should be exciting, because if you're held accountable, there's no way you can't see success. And that is what our goal is. Our goal is to help you succeed.
It is, absolutely. And, we are in this with you. We're walking it out with you. The one thing that I did want to add is gone.
No!
So I guess I won't be adding it. But
it'll come back to him when you sign up for coaching.
Oh, actually, thank you, because that was it. So we're not for everybody. Like, we don't resonate with everybody, and we're not really willing to work with just any couple. First off, you really do have to have a strong desire to transform, to succeed. But if any of this resonates, on our website, there's a link to get on our calendar, and one of the two of us you can have a conversation with, and one of two things will happen. Either we decide that we are a good fit and we're going to move forward, or we'll suggest some other resources that you may want to consider. All right. And with that being said, we will see you in the next video, and subscribe to the channel and like the video.
Bye.